Okay, welcome back to another episode of First Use, and in today's video I'm going to go through the Adelaide Crows and how they were able to successfully beat the Blues out of the centre. It was 16-6, and it didn't come until, I reckon, late in the second quarter, and definitely in the third quarter where they were able to break. But I'll just go through and specifically what O'Brien did to Tom De Koning in the centre bounce, how he was able to negate his strength in ability to jump, and also just his angles. So let's get through some videos and show you how they're able to do that from the Adelaide Crows. So as I've said a lot, you get a really good indication of what each team has done in their homework in the first centre bounce. So this is the first centre bounce of the game. I just want you to pay particular attention to O'Brien. So what he's trying to do, so if this was just to unfold as it is right now, De Koning on his left leg, jumping, he would jump straight over him. He would have no chance against him. But just watch what O'Brien does. This is the first centre bounce of the game. So when I look at this video, I get a sense of how they're going to set up, what kind of running patterns they want to run. I noticed that I reckon that Carlton was going to run this running pattern, and you've got an Adelaide player there. So defensively, he's set up really well. But just watch O'Brien, what he does. So he creeps around really early. So whilst the umpire's about to bounce, and De Koning didn't change his angle at all. So it's something he needs to learn and get better at. But watch how quickly O'Brien comes over the line. So the ball's going in the air. He's checked him already. So no opportunity for De Koning to use his feet and use his ability, his strength, which is to jump. So this is the first centre bounce of the game. So when I look at that, clear instruction for O'Brien to try and negate De Koning's run at jumping at the ball, and this really played in the hands of Adelaide for them to be winning the centre bounce clearances. So another centre bounce. Just watch how he gets across the line. And another thing that the Crows focused on was making sure that they had some representation facing their goal. So a lot of their players, this becomes a free kick, but you can see their intention. So what they try to do is they make sure that they have some coverage and someone standing here facing their goal as a release. So many times, particularly in the second half, when they won the clearance, it was a hand pass out to someone stationary that was facing their goal. But just watch O'Brien once again, how he was up. So De Koning's changed a little bit. He's come across here. But just watch how O'Brien gets across so quickly. And just comes, and look, got him already. So checked him. So if I was coaching De Koning, I would get him moving, but hold his width. Hold his width. Instead of actually coming in, just hold on the line. See what your opponent does, quick feet, and then be able to jump. Because then you wouldn't have the ability to get close. O'Brien wouldn't have the ability to get close to you. But you'd see that was... And now you watch the movement of Rankin, Rochelle, all trying to go... It's a free kick, but in other videos you can see what I mean by going back. So once again, I'm showing O'Brien, and it was a clear tactic. Happened the whole day. But De Koning didn't change. So next time he needs to change there, he needs to hold his position, needs to change it up. But it played into O'Brien's hands. This is a good example of how the Crows had the outlet. So they're going right of screen, but they always had representation on the back side to release, to be a handball release. So the ball goes, you can see how O'Brien gets so quickly across, and it played into his hands. So De Koning had no chance to jump at all. I don't think he jumped for any centre bounces. Now, De Koning should have got this, but you can see the representation there. So he's in his vision, holding as a sweeper, and look at that. So in a really good angle to receive the ball, and Dawson's also there. So it caught Carlton offside a lot. So I just want to highlight just the work ethic of just getting back and getting in line with the receiver. So it's not necessarily about the rucks. It's just the ball goes forward, bubbles through, and then you watch Saligo, ability to get off and get back. They were just a lot quicker to react than what Carlton were. And the other thing with this too is that the Carlton forwards needed to come off a bit more to have representation to squash this handball back, and they just weren't able to do it. So once again, O'Brien getting across the line, but I really love this set play. So they've pulled for Adelaide Crows, they've pulled their players back quite a lot. So what they're trying to do is to try and maximise this little drop hit that O'Brien loves to do, because their sweeper is standing off. So really good set play here. And you can see when the ball goes up, watch O'Brien again, how much ground he takes up of De Koning. So De Koning's ready to jump there. But because he's taken up all this space for him, it just becomes like a stop play around the ground. But you can see, so there's movement here, but you can see this Adelaide player is trying to get into this position to receive the little drop tap. So it's a really good set play. I like it. So you can see here he is getting his hands to it, and Rankin. They do this tap quite a lot and very effective, especially when Rankin's in there. It doesn't come off, but Rankin's still there to hold there. Now you can see the representation that you have at the back end here, whereas all the Carlton mids are sort of in and squashed and don't have any balance. And there's the player, and then you watch Peakling. He goes back to give representation as the handball receive. So really well organised in the centre bounce, particularly in the second half. I thought the first quarter and also first half of the second quarter, Carlton were great out of the centre. They just couldn't sustain it, and they were in the game up until halfway through the second quarter. But then then Adelaide clearly got on top. So once again, just look at the representation of the Adelaide Crows players, particularly backward of centre, to be able to receive the ball facing their goal. So it's almost like they're trying to take turns, but they're having balance and giving support to the player that's going for the ball. So ball drops, Rankin's going back to try and receive, doesn't happen. Peakling's going back, Dawson's going back. Always say, be in line in the vision, very important. But great awareness here from Rankin. Great hands. Could see that there's pressure coming to Dawson, but the ability to have that lateral awareness is really good. That's why he's so good in the centre, whenever he's a mid, and another clearance. Now, I just want to show, this is a really good tap. This is what O'Brien loves to do. If he can close the gap quite quickly against his opponent and make it a stop play, so he loves to tap it behind himself. He either taps it there or he taps it in front of him. But this is such a great tap. I love this. So his first preference is to make sure he doesn't get De Koning to jump. Done. And then the little tap there. Really good. And really important that this player, Adelaide player, is in front for protection, because Hewitt, I think it's Hewitt, could easily come off and smother the ball. So great tap from O'Brien. So once again, so the modes that they wanted to have in the centre bounce, particularly in the second half for Adelaide, was 1, O'Brien close the gap on De Koning. Don't let him jump. 2, have representation here for facing the goal. Really important. So have balance. Don't all sucked into the contest. You've got to have, that's the sweeper. There's a free kick here, but you can 100% see what their strategy was against Carlton. So go in, 1, and then there's a high tackle. But look, 2-on-1. Ends up being a free kick to Adelaide. But that's the setup. So they always had a release player. As I keep saying, the sweeper is so important. The sweeper has to go laterally. That's why they call it the sweeper. But is also there as an outlet or someone to come and give pressure once the opposition win the ball. Right, so the last centre bounce. So once again, I cut this off short, but you can see, repeating myself, but it's clear. It doesn't matter if Adelaide was going this way or Adelaide was going this way. O'Brien, his method was to get in between his opponent and the ball, but do it early. And De Koning just had no answer for it. He just stick to the same method, which played in. This is a really good tap. So, as I said before, what they try to do is they love to isolate this area. And O'Brien's not one for hitting it and smashing it. He's all about getting that body work, get the check, and then just drop it in this little space here. So you can see this Adelaide player's on this side. This Adelaide player's on this side. So where's the tap going to go? 100% into there. And this is exactly what happens. So they love this. This is the setup they love, especially when O'Brien's on top. And then out. And they just real set up. And the other thing with this too is that with this setup, if the opposition is to win it, they've got a defensive triangle set up. So they've got protection. So even though O'Brien loves to hit in that area, if the opposition win the tap and hit it forward, they're going to be the first ones to the ball. So well done to Adelaide, particularly in the second half. They just dominated the centre bounces. Clearances around the ground as well, but more in particularly, this is where you drive momentum. This is where you're able to get a lot of forward half momentum, and that's what they did by winning it out of the centre against Carlton over the weekend.